Well, I think as anything goes, you know, the more expectations you set, the more you leave yourself open to be disappointed. I think if you go into everything and you gauge it for what it is, spur of the moment, that you don't really set yourself up the same way. Like, have you ever heard all your friends talk about how awesome a movie is and it's really great, and then you go see it and you're kind of like, it wasn't that awesome to me. I think a big part of that means then you feel ostracized. You feel like, well, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe it is a good movie. And maybe what I think is good is wrong. And I think as a musician, you can definitely get stuck in that. You know, if radio tells you, oh, your song's not radio-y enough. You know, which is, for us being a heavy band, that's definitely happened a lot, where we send a song and half the radio likes it and the other half goes, oh, this is way too heavy. And for us, we go, maybe we lost the plot. Maybe we don't know what we're doing. But I think if you just don't set expectations and you just say, I love this song, I'm going to put it out into the world, the people who speak the same musical language will find it. So it's more about the honest intent when you put it out, not trying to figure out where it's going, you know?
And the first, I remember the first part of that question was, how do you arrive, or for you at least, how did you arrive at that point where you could say that, where you wouldn't worry anymore about, are we going to make it on the radio or not? And we're just looking to excite ourselves.
I think you have to go through the gauntlet of trying to please people through expectations, and then after a while you're kind of like, hey, this kind of sucks. It's much more fun when you're creating stuff for yourselves, knowing that there's honesty behind it, because you know somebody's going to find it out there and connect with it. So I don't know, maybe going through the ringer?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been a band almost 10 years, and we put out 5 studio albums, 1 live album. You know, like, we have experience. So that's the way to know it. I wouldn't go, I mean, we do tell bands to, you know, be honest with themselves and make music that you like. Don't listen to what the formula is. But also, we've made records where producers have told us this is how you get on the radio, and we've made those songs. You know what I mean? And I think in a lot of ways it's just, that comes from experience. And we're kind of veterans of our scene now, I guess. And I think it's crazy to be there and to be able to make those decisions, but that it comes from our experience, and it comes from how we want to continue to make music and how we want our band to progress forward. And it's always changing, you know, with new music, new albums, the industry, like it always changes. And I think the best way to maintain artistic integrity is to do just that, is to love what you do and make honest stuff. And not that any of our music wasn't honest, you know, it all was, but I think in a lot of ways, like kind of what Aaron said, like we're very lucky and fortunate to be able to have that experience, to know that now we just want to make music that excites us, and thankfully that also excites our fans, because the pits and everything are freaking crazy and everyone's crowd surfing and loving the new music. So you know what I mean? Like it's honesty with the music and not really worrying too much. Good songs will be good songs regardless of if they're on the radio or not.
With that in mind, and you guys being a band for quite a while now, does it become easier in a way making an album, or is it just the same?
Sure, I mean, because we're more experienced now. You know, it used to be like, oh my God, we're going to the studio for 3 months, and oh, we better get everything done, and oh my God, like, what are we gonna do? And now we're just like, we're driving to the studio and we go and record, and it's not like this daunting task of creating music. But that's because we're experienced. You know, we're older dudes now, and we've been making albums for the better part of our adult life. So as with anything, if you do it for a long time, it just becomes more easier, or it becomes easier the more experienced you are.
And releasing an album next spring.
We don't know that it's coming out in spring. We haven't set a release date.
Because that's what I kept reading, so
Yeah, I don't know.
That's an estimate.
Yeah, it's like an estimate. I mean, we want it to come out ASAP, but there's a lot of red tape, and being on a label and stuff it's a lot different. So.
Well, but that would be my question. How come you want to release an album as soon as possible? Because the last album, Defy, wasn't released that long ago.
Right.
Is it just that you're in a very fruitful creative period? Yeah,
and it's just, you know, we make music, and when you hear a brand new of Mice and Men song, that means it's like a year old. You know, by the time it's recorded and it's marketed and it gets to people. It's generally 6 months to a year old. For us, with the digital age of music, it's almost to a point where artists can create a song and the next day or 2 days later it can be on everything. And I think that that is a huge reason why rap music and hip hop, especially now, and EDM is as massive as it is, because fans are more directly linked with the artists that they love. They're more directly linked with their creativity now, because you're getting fed art by somebody as they're finishing it. This is done, I'm sharing it with you, versus this is done and it sits and gets all old and dusty. And I think that that's something that rock music is slowly but surely picking up on, is make a song, record it, put it out, you know?
But in that sense, because do you think there's still a place then for things like concept records?
Sure,
yeah,
absolutely. But I think the era of having mass consumption of something like that is long since past. I don't know that people have the attention span, at least not the youth. I don't think the youth have the attention span for that anymore. Not to say all, but just generally speaking, everything is about 15 seconds. It's 15-second Snapchats. It's about your 15 minutes of fame. Everything is so here and now and instant, and what's new and what's cool, that people really have to go out of their way to look for that kind of depth. You know what I mean? It's like nobody will watch an 8-hour movie, but people will watch 12 hours in a row of Netflix of 1-hour episodes. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing, but it's how you package it. You know, a person can release 3 mixtapes that each have 4 songs on it versus a 12-song album, and it seems like there's more content on the mixtapes because it's separated and they're released instantaneously. So I think there is still a place for it, but I don't think it's necessarily with the youth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Makes me sound old, but
no, but it's
yeah.
I think it's a fair point. Finally, then, you mentioned kind of seeing marsh pits and looking out into the audience. And obviously, since you've become musicians, you're very much on the artist side.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you were in the audience at a rock show or a metal show?
I mean, any of the festivals that we play.
We like to watch a lot of bands that we play with on festivals and stuff, and go like hang out and watch from like the pit, not necessarily on stage or whatever, but like by where the sound engineer is and where they're mixing the sound. But we go to concerts all the time. You know, like we live in Orange County, California, so there's a lot of, whether it's going up to Los Angeles or going to like home venues or whatever like that. So we actually go a fair amount, especially Aaron and I. We go to a lot of concerts. But we're also, you know, we're music fans, just like probably everyone that's watching it, and like you know what I mean? Like we very much put back or give back what we put in, you know what I mean? Because we're music lovers, and we, like, it's not just a job for us, like it's been our life. So we enjoy music just as much as our fans do. So it's like, we're kind of like fans of music making music for fans of music, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool cycle that we get to be a part of.
Very quickly then, who's a really good live act you saw recently?
Who did we just see?
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
Papa Roach.
Yeah.
That was Papa Roach. They put on an incredibly entertaining live show.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.